Is it on? First strength of the performer in football is a winger, and his first skill-based strength of the performer will be his ability to dribble with the ball. The teaching points of dribbling with the ball are that you should keep the ball close to your feet and you must be in control of the ball at all times. Also, the performer should be looking up rather than at the ball. An advanced dribbler will be able to use both feet and be able to change direction swiftly. Good dribbling in football has a huge impact on performance, especially if the performer is attacking players and need to beat defenders in order to get close to the goal. Good coordination is needed to be a successful dribbler, as you need to be able to control the ball without looking. Another skill-based strength of the performer is the crossing. It's important as a winger that they have good crossing, as they need to be able to create chances for the strikers. Wingers are often in positions to be able to cross the ball, so being a good crosser benefits the team, as they will score more goals from crossers and the team will always try to give the winger the ball to give them a chance to put the ball into the box. And the striker will always try and get on the end of it. Tactical strength of the performer would be the ability to stay in position according to the formation being played by the team. The teaching points of this strength is to know the formation your team is playing. If you are told you're playing in the left wing position, then you're told it's in front of the left back and to the left of the centre midfielders in a 4-4-2 formation. This will affect performance in a good way because the teammates will know where the player is at all times, and the player will be open to passes and in positions to cross the ball to the strikers and give them opportunities to score. Staying in position in football requires good cardiovascular fitness, so you can get up and down the pitch. So you can get up and down the pitch without getting tired, so you get cut out. Fitness-based strength of the performer would be the cardiovascular fitness, as the player is able to keep going for the full 9 minutes and stay in position the whole time. This will affect performance massively because the performer will not get tired easily. They can perform to their full potential for the full game. Being able to do this may also give the performer an advantage over the other team, as they might not be as fit as them, so it'll be easier to run past them. Another fitness-based strength would be the agility of the player. He's able to change directions fast. This is important for his role in the team. Attacking needs to be agile to beat defenders. Being agile is useful for a short burst of speed to get away from the defenders after beating them. Also, agility allows players to react to situations quite faster than the opponent, which gives them an advantage. Now, the weaknesses. A skill-based weakness of the performer would be their heading. Teaching points for heading the ball is that you need to make contact with the ball on your forehead while keeping eyes on the ball at all times. Neck muscles are used, as well as the legs, to jump and generate power. The performer needs good coordination to be a good header of the ball. If a player has a good heading in football, it gives them an advantage of the opponents. They will win most of their aerial battles, which could help team defend corners, but also help team score from crosses/corners. So having heading as a weakness will make the player useless in situations where the ball is in the air. A tactical weakness of the performer was that they were caught offside quite often during the game. This had a negative effect on performance, as there were many occasions where the performer could have been thrown goal and probably score, but they didn't time the run properly, so they were caught offside. So the performer needs to improve the timing of the attacking runs, and if they do this, it'll be crucial for attacking players. Their job is to score goals, and staying onside will create much more opportunities to do it. Fitness-based weakness of the player will be the speed. This component of fitness is probably the most important in football, especially for attacking players, as they need to be faster than defenders when passes are played through. This gives them a better chance of scoring, so it makes it much more difficult to beat defenders trying to score. but it's also important to have fast defenders so they keep up with the opposition striker. Most of the best teams in football have fast players throughout the team. Speed gives them different options, and you can win a game of football without playing well as long as your team counter-attacks fast. So it's important the performer needs to be fast to help the team. Another fitness weakness of the player is the strength. The player struggles to hold off players and shield the ball. The player also getting knocked off the ball easily, which affects their performance as is a winger. So he has to beat defenders, so needs strength to hold off the defender, and so the defender cannot easily push the player off the ball. The defender should have to foul the player to get him off the ball if he's got good strength. The last weakness is linked to his skill, and it's his weak foot. This is a weakness because the player was forced to use his left foot during the whole game, so the defender always knew where he was going. He looked uncomfortable using his right foot, which affected his performance as his winger, so he couldn't cut inside on his right foot. He always went down touch sign. This is a major weakness of the player, and it needs to be prioritised to improve. If the player can use both feet well, then he'll feel comfortable going in any direction. So the action plan to improve the weak foot will aim to improve the performer's ability to use the right foot, which is currently the player's weak foot. By the end of the training programme, the player should be confident using their right foot in a game situation, and overall aim of the plan is for the player to get more assists from cross positions using their weaker foot. To have the correct technique to kick a ball, the player must use their arms for balance and place the non-kicking foot next to the ball, and the player must pull their leg backwards while keeping their upper body straight. Then connect with the ball using the laces or the side foot depending on the situation they're in. The skill being learned is a complex skill as there are different stages to it. The skill is learned in open environments as many factors can affect the outcome. The muscular involvement of the skill is gross as all of the leg muscles are used, such as rectus femoris, gastrocnemius, biceps femoris and the gluteus maximus. Varied practice is going to be used to learn the skill, as this is best for learning open skills as the environment is constantly changing. The nature of varied practice allows the learner to perform the same task in a number of different ways. In the first week of the action plan, the player will take part in 2 15-minute drills involving short passing using their weaker foot to get them used to the correct technique with the side foot, as this is part of the foot which they will be used to cross the ball into the box by the end of the sessions. 2 short sessions prevent the player from getting bored and being overloaded with information. In week 2, the performer will have another 2 sessions, 15 minutes long, but this time the player will attempt longer passes in a straight line while lifting the ball in the air. This emulates the distance that the cross needs to be kicked in a real game situation and the height the ball needs to go to get above the defenders to get to the striker. In week 3, the player will perform similar techniques to the previous week. Using the same distance and height needed for a cross, the player will attempt to curl the ball instead of passing in a straight line. This would make the session similar to a game situation as crosses need to be at a fast pace, making it more difficult for defenders, and curl so it is hard for defenders to read, and so less effort is required for the striker, as all the power will be on the ball. If the ball is crossed at low speeds, the strikers generate a lot of power from the neck, so fast crossing makes it easier for the striker to score. This week's training sessions are more advanced, so there will be 3 sessions of 15 minutes instead of 2. In week 4, the players will perform same techniques in week 3, but they will dribble down the wing for 10 metres, then either cut inside or go down the touch line, depending on what side they're on, so they can kick it with the right foot. This is another advanced session, so there will be 3 sessions in this week, but the sessions will be 30 minutes long. This will make the sessions even more realistic to a game situation, as the ball will be moving and the player will have to run down the line to get it into the position to cross in the first place. In week 5, the sessions will be 30 minutes long, 3 times a week. The player will perform the same skill as in week 4, but there will be a defender in the way to put them under pressure, which makes the session almost identical to a game situation. This will get the player using their weaker foot without thinking about it, as they will be thinking about the defender instead. In the final week, the player will be putting a game. The amount of crosses the player performs with their weak foot will be recorded, and their aim is to get more than 5 crosses and to assist 1 goal from a cross with a weaker foot. The game will involve 2 halves, 30 minutes each, and at half time the player will change positions and play on the right hand side to see if they can still put crosses in on that side by going down the line instead of cutting inside. In conclusion, I think that the action plan will improve the player's ability to use the weak foot. It might take more than 6 weeks, as the player might struggle for a week, so spend more time on them sessions. I think the action plan will be effective as the training is in moderation to the performer, so stay motivated and gives them time to practice outside of lessons. And after each session, the player and the coach will give feedback to how they felt the session went and see whether another week will be spent on it. Feedback will be given to track the progress of the player, so the player knows they're improving, which helps motivation. The intensity of the sessions increase each week to overcome plateaus and to make sure the performer works harder each week to ensure progression. In football, there are a range of opportunities both locally and nationally. Locally, there are amateur football clubs to join. These clubs often include groups of friends who live in the same area and play for the team for fun and as a hobby. Also, there are chances to play for the school team, play against other schools. If a player is good enough, could be scouted to play for an academy team, professional clubs, then progress to the senior team. And if they're good enough at that level, they will be able to play for their country. Top participating in football is good for achieving a healthy lifestyle and improves fitness levels by giving the participator the recommended daily amounts of exercise. Participating in sport improves muscular endurance and strength and makes muscles more flexible, which is very useful in everyday life, so it reduces risk of injury.